coverage of the 5th season for the NASCAR Class C Maconi Fixed Series. This evening, we're excited to bring you top-foot action for the weekly Strength of Field race for the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, including the top split of this series, RTP, and Fast Fridays. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Brayton Laster. DJ Line working the controls as our producer once more again this evening. The fantasy portion of the schedule continues as tonight we head to the penultimate race week of the season. Atlanta Superspeedway, as some may call it, the host for tonight's racing, and that means high-octane speeds, Brayton, but also the potential for a lot of pack racing and big ones.
Yeah, this 1.54 mile super speedway, and I say super speedway because it races just like Daytona, just like Talladega. Pack racing is the name of the game. High speeds of 180, 190 miles an hour, bumper to bumper action with little room for error. I say it's probably one of the harder tracks to race at compared to Daytona and compared to Talladega. You don't have any wiggle room, only 5 degrees of banking down the straightaway and 24 to carry you through the corners. But that, less mile you don't have compared to Daytona and Talladega definitely makes it very unique.
Let's take a look at the point standings coming in as well. Drop week's now going to be a major factor for these drivers. Dean Brummett is the points leader for this season right now, and it's close because Dakota Lawn, Tyler Helsell, Justin Vitello, Wesley Parker are all in the conversation. Outside chances for Maconi, Tuckness, Hunter East, Gavin Gleitzman, and Adam Gillette. It is razor-thin margins right now. Less than 300 points separate the top 9 coming into tonight, Brayton.
Yeah, you see some of the battles there from 3rd, 4th to 5th is separated by less than 4 points for 3 spots, and look down 7th, 8th, and 9th as well. Same story there. But you mentioned razor-thin margins, not only in the points battles, but on track as well. You have no room for error whatsoever. One mistake tonight, and your race is over, and you're having used one of your very many drop weeks, or very few drop weeks you don't want to rely on, and that can definitely change the tide of things. We've seen point championships come down to the wire. Dean Brummett mentioned, he's all season long trying to go not back to back. He won the championship a year ago. He took a little 3-season hiatus, but he's going to be rolling off in the front row from tonight.
You mentioned it right there. Qualifying just came to a close, and not that many people elected to qualify for the race. Most preferring to start based on their iRating at a 38.81 S.O.F. race. Let's take a look at how those starts in the next moment or so as 9 drivers took fast times out of the 22 entrants. Alec Daffin will start on the pole. Dean Brummett does take the track position to start in 2nd. Then it's Mike George and Brendan Argenio. Then it's Andrew Chapman and Connor Truman who will start amongst the top 6 tonight. Dylan Cummings and Drew Wilk in the top 8. Chad Stearns was the last one to set a time. Kyle Dragoon will start things in 10th, while the Nexus Esports drivers rounds out your top 10, Brayton.
And next driver, first driver outside the top 10 mentioned, none of these drivers taking a time. Jeff Maconi there in 11th, and his outside is going to be none other than Jason Iannani in 12th. Carlos Truther, speaking the truth, in 13th. Kilo Ray to his outside in 14th. Philip Radojic there in 15th. Chris Gutierrez in the number 12 truck, going to be rolling off to his outside in 16th there. Caden Diedrich, we've seen him time and time again, always a competitive truck when he shows up. He's going to roll off deep in the field in the 17th. Chris Williams there in 18th. Corey Lesher in 19th. Eric Gonzalez in 20th. Matthew Kosher in 21st. And Stephen Ross, painting like a Bob Ross, painting it deep in this field, rolling off dead last, 22nd.
Let's look top spot once again at the running order here tonight. 22 entrants as mentioned. Here's your Maconi Setup Shop race analysis. Brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop. Tonight, 40 laps the distance, pit road speed limit 45 for this evening. There is one green, white checkered attempt if necessary. And it should be worth noting, no fast repairs for the fixed setup, so you have to be able to keep your trucks clean if you're going to be able to try and run up front here tonight. These drivers now getting themselves just about ready to hit the racetrack for their pace laps, though. What are your keys to victory here tonight in this one?
Survival, that's the biggest thing. I've raced real life at Daytona and Talladega at the, with the Arca Menard series, never at Atlanta though, but survival is always the name of the game. You can't finish first if you don't first finish. Something like that. But don't wreck. Be there at the end, and you have that, you have no fast repairs. So, I mean, if you wreck, majorly, front bumper gone missing, that is your night over. You are not going to be winning this race unless a miracle happens. So you got to be there at the end.
Be there at the end, got to be in position to be able to pounce at the end. Should be fun to see. Who do you think is going to get in the best position to do so tonight by the end?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Looking at this running order, some drivers we saw not like to qualify. Over half the field like to not qualify. Some drivers like to start in the back. Some like to start up front. The driver who's probably most dangerous right now, I'm going to give it to Jeffrey Maconi. He wanted to go to the back, and I was talking a little bit beforehand, but he's literally dead middle of the field. So I'm not really sure what his strategy is here, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Jeff.
Happy with us tonight on iRacing social media platforms, Maconi Entertainment, for tonight's coverage of the Maconi Fixed Series. It will be Colorado Technical University's Alec Daffin who controlled the field over the series points leader, Dean Brummett. iRacing pace car drops off to the safety of pit road as they head to the start box. Green flag waits, green flag waves. We're underway from Atlanta. Back to side by side throughout the field, back and forth as some of the drivers go. Chapman bounces off the side of Argenio. Everybody else keeps it safe as we battle it out up front for the first time around. It'll be Daffin who leads with the help of George.
Dean Brummett working the outside. Argenio finally gets back to that back bumper, able to push him, not quite able to get any momentum going yet. Now here comes the momentum from the 2 truck of Dean Brummett, side by side drafting out Daffin, but Daffin pulls away with a bump from Mike George there on the inside.
Those bumps going to be very critical to keep momentum going. These are momentum-based machines, these trucks, mind you. A lot of bump drafts to be able to push, and more push. To be able to get ahead. Right now, Daffin just about clear with George. George, big checkup, though, with Chapman. Just about bottled everybody else up. And already, for the most part, drivers staying where they started. No major dropbacks outside of Maconi, as mentioned. Rajkovic amongst those who was able to gain a few spots to get to 11th.
And that bobble from the inside going through 1 and 2 allowed Dean Brummett to get side by side with Daffin. Big bobble behind him, though. That's a 7 truck going way high and wide. That's Connor Truman falling back fast. Loses over 5 spots in those 2 corners alone and continues to fall. Look at Chad Stearns now trying to rebuild the outside momentum. Dean Brummett, meanwhile, is falling almost outside the top 5 in front of him.
Get in a club driver trying to find a way to get in line to work together. Brummett lost all his help at this point. No one able to go on the high side and run it confidently for the time being, it looks like. These tires here, like the old Atlanta, still chew up that rubber, still chew up that grip. It's very easy for drivers to get loose as the run goes on. It's going to be important to maintain that grip on the long run here at the Super Speedway.
Yeah, it's not 100% like a full-on blown super speedway. You see the pack racing here. There is going to be tire wear, like you mentioned. That's not really going to come into play for another 10 to 15 laps, but it creates a little bit of strategy, makes it where you don't want to be stuck on the inside lap after lap after lap, just like Alec Daffin is, and it makes side-by-side racing a little bit more interesting. Here comes the charge from the outside. It's Andrew Chapman, the driver we were talking about bobbing a couple laps ago. He's going to bob his way to the lead with help from Dean Brummett.
Top lines come back in full force. Lap traffic is ahead. Carlos Trufer started from the pit road. Trufer is electing to go to the apron after some back and forth maneuvering. That's going to cause some drivers to spook off the bottom for a quick moment to give some space. But for a track like this, usually we've seen that outside get a big boost if you're able to get a push sometimes. We've already seen that with Chapman get that help from Brummett to be able to get those charge aheads through the corner or through the straightaways.
I see the battle for the lead down the back straightaway now. Andrew Chapman has him clear, decides to go low. He is going to go low, throws the block there on Daffin, leaves Dean Brummett high and out to dry. Brummett's getting help now from Chad Stearns in the 3 truck and outside reforming up after Chapman abandoned shift there. And Chapman now trying to play both lanes. Dean Brummett finally gets back to that rear quarter panel, but for how long?
How long will the game last is the question, as Brummett now goes for the race lead down the back straight away. Yeah, Stern's going to help him out for the time being, side by side up front. Mostly these drivers not able to get the track position. If you qualified up front early, you maintain the front position likely. Brummett, though, get the position out front for the race lead, this time by with the edge.
That big bump there from Chad Stearns in the 3 truck. That white number 3, he's got help from Kyle Dragoon in the 1 behind him. And they're both pushing number 2 truck, 2, 3, 1. Not the right order number sense-wise, but I'm sure Dean Brummett doesn't mind being the leader of this outside lane. So Brummett getting help from the Indiana driver there, Chad Stearns, and other drivers in this line include Connor Truman, who fell back outside the top 10 a couple laps ago, and Dylan B. Cummings as well in the 21 truck. They're really working this outside.
Big bobbles down the inside this time. I was about to say, drivers like Dean Brummett have done a very good job this season. The races we've seen, consistency has been critical to battle for this championship. Brummett's been amongst those who's had the most consistency to be able to see himself as the points leader.
Yeah, I mentioned consistency, like we said, there is key. Brummett runs few and far between. Typically likes to pick the higher S.O.F races, but Dakota Long not present here tonight. Typically goes for quality and quantity, so might not get as high of an S.O.F, but able to pick up more wins that way. And he's been pretty consistent when it comes to that fact. And I believe he got a win a couple weeks ago, or earlier in the season, for the broadcast time slot. Normally broadcast time slot higher S.O.F, but Dean Brummett been the man to beat here on Wednesday nights.
And as this is all going on, the drivers continue to zip around Atlanta Motor Speedway. In recent years, turned itself to a super speedway with the higher bankings and the higher speeds. We've seen plenty of drivers go 2, 3 wide around this track. It should be a fun night to see if we keep that rhythm going here. Kovic, by the way, is amongst those who now have damage in this choo-choo train. That's amongst the drivers at the bottom, as we keep on seeing these drivers zip around the racetrack and see they can situate themselves already past a quarter distance to the race.
Yeah, this thing's going pretty quickly here. I'm sure Dean Brummett doesn't mind. And I mentioned this thing, the margins are very thin here. One mistake, they're going around and taking the field with you. And when you have a pack this big, the top 15 cars all within a second, give or take. A second pack has kind of formed behind them, including Stephen Ross, Matthew Coaster, Maconi, Williams, Gonzalez, and more. So the entire field is pretty much on the same straightaway. So one bad bump in the lead. You got a 20 truck pileup.
Right now, there's no place for anyone to really go. It's just stay aligned and work together is the main mindset you have to think. But a lot of people are starting to sway. You do not want to sway the truck here. It's so easy to cause trouble if you go just that little bit of a bobble into somebody's door.
And that's a good way to cause a field killer there. 20-plus trucks involved. We've seen it happen time and time again. It's Brummett, though, running the outside to his inside once again. Same story has been the last couple laps with Andrew Chapman in the 18. No momentum, really. You see the bumps there from number 4 of Alec Daff, and really starting to upset the rear end of Chapman. I can talk about, JP. Sway, 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 go away, I'm sure these drivers are saying.
Especially with the amount of sway, a lot of these competitors seem to be going. Dylan Cummings amongst those charging to the bottom to be able to try and get out of that top momentum. And the bottom is always seen when it comes to these super speedway races to be the safe line, so to speak, because you have that place to escape compared to the top. Do you feel that same way with this type of race? Do you want to be at the bottom or the top for the short term, or at least at this point of a race?
I always like being on the bottom at any super speedway race because I feel like there's always going to be more room to see drivers not really going below the red line there. They go below it on the front straightaway, and I actually like to use it to make a move. Some drivers like to go below it. The drivers up top will stay, half a lane or two above it. And you try and go 3 by middle, pick up a couple spots if you can. I think we'll see the aggression level get turned up here in about 10 or so laps if it stays green to ride on board now with a 10 kilo array. See that, started 15th, and he actually started 14th, and he's been 15th and 13th. So it hasn't really moved a whole lot. Fast car currently in this lead pack. I see him kind of single file back through there.
A lot of people are starting to strain onto the back.
Oh, we got one in the wall.
Connor Truman just hit the wall. No caution. We stay green. Truman driving too high. Had contact with Dietrich.
Mentioned these tires starting to go away, and that's just a result of that. Truman, a little bit of bumper damage, able to hang with the draft, it seems, in the 7 truck, but mentioned track position here is critical, and he's going to lose a ton of it.
So one of the new JRS racing entries having some troubles there with the contact to the back bumper to Truman. Truman going to have to deal with significant damage the rest of the way to the entire back bumper, and that's already cost him a lot of spots already outside the top 18 in that 7 truck. For the most part, though, that back of the group needing to make sure they maintain momentum. It's so easy if you fall that 1 second back to have a hard time to close on up here after all. Coming up to halfway already, and the main pack is avoiding running that wall that we usually would see in the next gen car.
Yeah, only 4 drivers working this outside. Bit of a bobble from the inside, though, of Daffin and Mike George there, making a little bit of contact coming off the corner, upsetting both trucks. But the outside, once again, and all race long, it's been Dean Brummett, Chad Stearns, Kyle Dragoon, and Caden Diedrich, and that's all there is to it. See them there side by side in a single file throughout the rest of the field. You have the outside starting to form up in the back, but they're in no position to help yet, but they are flying. Here comes Eric Gonzalez and Jeffrey Maconi running the outside there in the back.
Still a fair bit back, but they're trying to see if they can get some track position halfway to the race. This race already flying on by here tonight, here on iRacing social media platforms and Maconi Entertainment. Chapman, Brummett, Daffin, Stearns, Dragoon are still amongst your top 5. George, Argenio, Dietrich, Cummings, and Wilkie round out the top 10. Again, cross flags already taken. Trouble at the cross flags. Wilkie having a big save. We stay green right in front of Gutierrez. Truther is now in the wall.
Yeah, they were trying to bobble and get it saved up, and Truther the only casualty in all of that. I'm not really sure what the call is that we saw Jeffrey Maconi. They're going 3 wide, working straight up through the field, and trying out track position, I guess.
A lot of people testing out that brake pedal with this bobble right in the middle of the corner.
That's Drew Wilkie there. Gets has to take up a little bit. I think tires got a little bit loose. Started the truck to try to come up from underneath him, and then Philip Radojic there behind him. Didn't really see him. Comes up, forcing Maconi on 3 wide, and goes down, saves it. Gutierrez, Williams, Lesher, and a couple others all trying to avoid it. Truther has to put himself in the wall to avoid it. And this has separated this backpack to the lead pack big time. Only 13 drivers left in the lead pack. Jeffrey Maconi, one of them. And now the only truck in this 3rd lane, and he is flying up there.
Trying to force 3 wide, and Dragoon saying, you know what, let's do it. And this is where it gets risky. Remember the push-up we talked about, those bobbles? That happens a lot at this point of the run, and can happen if you go up half a lane to the wall. Dragoon nearly to the wall.
I think might have even tapped it a little bit right rear, caves in just a hair. Maconi has to check up a little bit, going to kill the run, and here comes the run. They're able to get it back going again thanks to help from Eric Gonzalez there in the 17 truck. This is definitely a risky business, running all the way up here, 3 wide. There goes one truck from the middle lane to the bottom. That's Chad Stearns now pushing Andrew Chapman, and here comes none other than Caden Diedrich all over the back bumper. Dean Brummett, Diedrich gets loose. Diedrich turns the leader into the wall. 3, 4, 5, 7 trucks and more piling on in, and that just killed the field.
Caution flag is out. The big one strikes as good 10 drivers get collected. That includes all your race leaders. Meatball flags for Dragoon, Brummett, Maconi, Dietrich, Argenio, Gonzalez. A lot of your front runners just have their chances go into the garbage bin with this move.
Chad Stearns going the bottom there. Here comes Diedrich getting the run, and Diedrich is carrying a ton of momentum going into the corner. I mean, I'm talking, 2, 3, 4 miles an hour faster than anyone in the field, and just has way too much momentum, not really able to carry in the older tires, gets loose, gets in the right rear of the 18-year leader, Andrew Chapman, the leader for most of this race, and at that point, there's really nothing no one can do.
At that point, everyone just trying to drive through it, but a lot of destroyed trucks as a result. A lot of people here coming in last time by or still trying to stretch it around to make sure they can pit.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I like to be on the bottom so I can avoid catastrophe. I don't think there was any good spot it could have been there. Riding on board, Jeff Maconi here. 8-ball flag received, and he was really hard charging this outside lane. There's nowhere to go. Heavy hits all around. Drivers keep piling on in. Actually getting a little hood action there from, I believe that was Stern.
Tony taking a lot of hits, amongst those with the chassis damage. And this is going to really change the complexion of this race, already past the halfway point. As to be expected, everyone coming in to take fresh tires, may as well take the 4. Alec Daffin now in the race lead. Only one person stayed out, interestingly enough, for this caution. Dylan Cummings just stayed up for track position to be a risk in terms of strategy there.
Definitely going to be an odd call. Tire elements starting to play a huge factor. I think that was the biggest resulting factor of that wreck there with Caden Diedrich. Ironically enough, looking at the field, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of cars even still out on track, not much of them are getting service, but not too many of them have left the pit, so we are limited, very limited as far as trucks are at 100%. And Cummings actually doesn't really look too bad looking at his truck. Now he was in that lead pack, somehow made it through, and I think he knows he has a pretty clean truck here. He's going to try and take it to these guys.
See if track position holds or fresh tires are the better advantage at this point of the race. Reminder, at this point, we are brought to you in part by iRacing, relied on as a trained tool by countless professional drivers. iRacing is unrivaled as a racing simulator because its creators have managed to capture every car and track detail. Bringing them in a package that perfectly encapsulates the feeling behind the wheel. Race car pushing its mechanical limits on courses designed to test each driver's mental mindset, and the industry agrees. Visit iRacing.com to sign up to become a member today. Currently, 50% off new members and 25% off renewals through December 2nd. As well, there is a similar sale going on with Maconi Setup Shop, where with Black Friday around the window, use the code Black Friday, you can get 25% off all subscriptions. Yes, 25% off to be able to subscribe and get yourself some discounts all the way through to Cyber Monday into December 2nd as well with Maconi Setup Shop.
Pace car lights are off, so we're going to get back green flag super speedway racing. See if Dylan Cummings is able to hang on it real quickly. If you like trucks and like super speedway racing, this Saturday for the boys over at Maconi Setup Shop /Movember. All proceeds go towards Movember, bettering men's health trucks at Daytona. Feel free to go sign up. You can check out the Maconi Setup Shop socials, find the entry page, entry link, or MaconiSetupShop.com /Movember. $500 purse, trophies. I believe someone may or may not be pouring liquid, milk, hot sauce, or another liquid on their body for an extra purse. I think Jeff's going to try and work that one out.
Well, we're coming up to 12 laps to go in this race. It's Cummings, it's Daffin, George, Iannone, then O'Ray in 5th, Lesher in 5th, should say 6th. Green flag is out, all tires up in front. Big test for the 21 truck. A huge call to see if the grip's going to hold on the long run.
Right now, Daphne has no help whatsoever. I mean, no truck until 3-4 car links back, and it could be Corey Lesher. Been in the back all night, started in the second to last row, and here comes the 15 truck to the back bumper to the 8 of Alec Daffin.
Daffin's going the wrong way, had contact with the race leader through turn 1. Was trying to build some momentum with Lesher quickly and fast. George looking for the race lead. He pokes to the outside of Cummings. Coming around next time by, it'll be 10 laps to go. George trying to get the run high side.
They're going to be about 15 miles to sort this one out. And to be honest, I don't know who to give it to. Who's the favorite? Christian Iannone over the back bumper now of Cummings, and behind them is Shaquille Ray falling back. Now not really able to hold the inside, outside, and those new tires are pushing through. Mike George leading the outside lane in the number 6 truck.
George getting the boost. George gets the edge at the stripe. Cummings, despite not pitting for tires, still holding on for now. How long will that last is a huge question for that bottom line. We've already seen these drivers slip and slide past 15 laps on tires.
All it takes is one bad bump for the 21 truck, but he's doing a great job so far, able to hang on side by side for lead on the bottom. George on the outside in that 6 truck, riding on board now with Jason Iannone. Trying to be careful. He knows the truck probably doesn't have pressed rubber, trying not to push. I think that's really hurting this inside line.
Lap traffic is up the road. George just burped the throttle mid-corner. Not sure what the reason for the checkup was, but he was starting to drift up the racetrack. That's killed the momentum high side.
So now Ianani and company to push that inside lane, and more importantly, push Dylan B. Cummings. Shaquila Ray mentioned once again the number 10 truck, third car on the inside. And they've got more help coming. Chris Williams there in the 14th has joined the inside line. So Drew Wilkie and Steven Ross. Ross number started last. And here comes Philip Radojic. Lap traffic going low.
Now getting the traffic out of the way. George keeps it up on the high side. Now Cummings still maintaining. Eventually, somebody's going to force a 3 again. The question is when and how it's going to be done. We've already seen how risky the 3 wide is. That might be the play for some of these drivers if they want a shot for the race win with under 7 laps to go.
And they were able to hold it 3 wide a little bit ago for a little bit longer than I would have anticipated. No one there going 3 wide quite yet. Coming to 6 laps to go this time by. Expect 3 wide action to start to form its way soon. I just don't know if they have the car counts as far as healthy trucks go. Less than 10, 11 trucks in this lead pack.
There is someone trying to peek to the outside, getting shuffled. Truman pushes Lesher out of the way. Now that 7 truck is back in the conversation despite the damage. Coming up 5 laps to go, this time by. Coming up to a high 5 from Barney.
George able to get momentum down the back straightaway. Cummings takes it in the corners on the inside. Running the shorter line through there, able to make a time bump from the outside, about turns George. That is Alex Daffman. He's been a great pusher all night long. Started on the pole. It's been up front all night long. Is trying to get the win from the second car on the outside. He's got help. And look who it is in that 7 truck. It's Connor Truman.
Can he get something going? He's fixed a lot of the damage with the caution flag. Still got some damage on the rear end, but it doesn't seem to impact him all that much. He's thinking of the force. Nearly forced it 3 wide on Daffin.
I don't think he was trying to push it 3 wide, but he saw a hole. He started to send it and thought better of it. Try and go for a solid finish rather than a wrecked race truck. Coming to 3 laps to go. Down the back straightaway here. Now 3.5. Cummings on the inside. Mike George on the outside. No line really pushing through. No line really getting great bumps. And I'm not sure if it's just a momentum thing or a tire thing or a line thing.
Still coming around, 3 laps to work with. George over Cummings right now up front. No one able to poke out for the 3 wide quite yet. Expect the move soon though. Huge run down the back straightaway. George able to clear by Cummings. Does he try and take the bottom? He does.
Lap traffic coming up, 2 very slow trucks coming up in the next lap and a half or so. Only about 2 laps to go. See if Cummings is able to get in a run, but here comes the outside. That's Connor Truman and Alex Daffin working together.
Truman all over the track though to the corner. Couldn't hold on the line to the corner. Dietrich moves out of the way for lap traffic. Still 2 more trucks in front. Coming up to the white flag. Next time around to the flag stand. Who will make it that way? Cummings pushes up off the bottom. There go the tires for Cummings. Here comes the run for Truman. 3 wide as they come down the front stretch. Final time around as Truman takes it into 1.
Truman, they're a huge stretch of momentum. 3 wide per second. They're going to wreck the 15 of Lesher around, the 4 of Daffin around, and it's all Connor Truman out of turn 4. He's got no competition. Mike George, the only truck in line in the number 6 truck. It's going to be a drag race.
George going for the run. Truman going to need to go for the block. George lifts, tries to peek high side. Looking for a drag race at the stripe. Who's got it? It is Truman.
It's a tie.
0.000, a tie on the time.
Have you ever?
A dead even tie for the interval. It comes down to inches. Here's the replay.
The only 2 trucks left coming off of turn 4. George carries momentum to the outside. No contact from either truck. Truman goes high to put the side draft on. And at the line through the tri-oval, it is dead nuts. Even it doesn't even look like anyone had an advantage there.
Dead even. Absolutely dead even. There is some controversy to mention with Truman going below that double line, though. They are both celebrating with how close that was here.
Same.
Let's take a break. We come back here, post-race results. You're watching iRacing social media platforms, Maconi Entertainment, here from Atlanta.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of Maconi Fixed Series Racing from Atlanta. In the end, it comes down to a dead even finish. One run to the checkered. Here's a look at the replay once again. As again, big run by Truman to get to the bottom and take the race lead into turn 1. Then they start combining and collecting each other in the backdrop through turn 1 here, Brayton.
Yeah, Corey Lesher was in that 3-wide battle, cross line, gets a bit of a bobble there through 1. At that point, the entire field has nothing to do. It's the last lap. You can't check up. Shaquille Ray hammers it down. Really nothing you can do. Ian Nani, Gutierrez, Dylan B. Cummins. At this point, the entire lead pack just slides in. And the gap from first to second we talked about was less than a thousandth of a second. And the gap from second to third is over 3 seconds. So, it was truly a drag race between Connor Truman and Mike George.
Chaotic sequence, to say the very least, in the backdrop. But at the very end, the race lead comes down to a drag strip to see who would come away with a race win in this one. Let's take a look at the post-race results now, where in the end it comes down to 0.000 seconds. That's the qualifying. That's how big the difference came for the race. George in second, Stephen Ross 3 seconds back over Chris Williams and Dylan Cummings. Daffin, Matthew Cucker, then it's Wilkie Iannone, then it's O'Ray who recovers to the top 10 to finish after losing the draft during one of the runs.
That great rebounds for a ton of those drivers. And 8 seconds back in 11th, Chris Gutierrez. Corey Lesher was literally in the lead, had a great shot to go and win it, coming to take a white flag, and he ends up ultimately there all the way back in 12th. Brandon Argenio there in 13th, and Chad Stearns, last driver on the lead lap. Actually did a photo finish for last driver on the lead lap, but it's going to be Chad Stearns who gets the lesser of the spots in 14th. First driver lap down, Caden Diedrich involved in an incident earlier in the night. Then Philip Dojic there in 16th, Andrew Chapman 17th, and all these drivers. Your DNF had a really, really, really rough night. That includes Eric Gonzalez, Kyle Dragoon, Jeffrey McConey. Dean Brummett, your points leader, mentioned drop weeks. It's going to be a big drop week here for Dean Brummett, especially Dakota Long not in attendance tonight to lose points, and then Carlos Cruz are there. The truth is, well, he finishes last.
So touch upon with the running order here tonight. Waiting for drivers to join on in. We do have one of your competitors in the top three. Just took a stop in to the area. It's Mike George who comes away with a second place run. Mike, that was close.
Yes.
Talk us through that final stretch to the checker flag where you're amongst one of the front runners, and then it gets chaotic coming to the stripe.
Oh, yes, it does. Appreciate you guys having me on board. Was just trying to make it through the race with, out any damage and whatnot. And coming to the end there, my intentions were to actually, stay behind him in second, kind of push him, up ahead there. And, at coming out of turn 4, decided to go up high. And that was by far the closest race I've ever had. I don't think I've ever seen a race with zeros like that. I'm just stoked to get it.
How tricky was this race in general, though? Because it's a super speedway, but it's Atlanta, so a lot of tire wear, and we've seen people sliding around after so many laps on the tires.
Yeah, these races are pretty hard at Atlanta. You really got to be self-awareness is key. And luckily at that kind of late caution, we were able to get put a new set of shoes on her. But, it does a little bit better if you're kind of lifting in the corners and just lift a little bit coming out of the corner. Kind of saves on your rear tires a little bit. So luckily I was managing my tires pretty well. I probably could have stayed out if I wanted to, but didn't really want to take the chance. But yeah, we got second, and I couldn't be happier with it.
Indeed. Well, on that note, thank you very much for your time, Mike. Congratulations once again on the run in this one.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Mike George comes away with a second place run. Happy driver. And a happy finish for some of the drivers. Let's take the chance to talk to Jeff Maconi now, as he's got a couple words to share in here. He's with Brayton.
Yeah, Jeff, we're not going to talk a whole lot about the race. I'm sure it was a night you want to forget after looking so strong. But I don't think you're tired of drafting with these trucks yet, are you?
No, I am not. It was a lot of fun out there. I was going to ride at the back, and then I was like, oh, I'll push up to the front, push Kyle to the lead, and then I'll drop back again, and then I just got absolutely killed. But that's life. It was a racing deal 100%. But yeah, not at all tired of bump drafting, because we got Movember, the 2024 Saturday for the boys, coming up on Saturday. You can still sign up for it. MaconiSetupShop.com/Movember. It's a $10 donation directly to Movember, and then you're good to race. We've got $500 in cash for the prize pool. We've got merch, Movember swag. The winner gets a 3.5-foot trophy, 3.3-foot trophy, which is a meter tall, customized with their name, the event, all that cool stuff. Very, very cool event coming up. And then I also said today that if you win the race and do a milk pour style, video, I will throw in an extra $100. It's completely optional. If they don't do it, it'll probably just get donated to Movember anyways. But if they want to get that extra $100, I think the current leading guess is eggnog. So I don't know. Someone else suggested 2 liters of soda. Brayton, you had a suggestion in there as well, which was not pizza sauce, which surprised me. But yeah, it's going to be Saturday night. 33 drivers make the race. Qualifying is at 7:15. Then at 7:30, we do a last chance qualifier to set top 25 from time, then 5 from the last chance qualifier, 3 provisionals for past winners. So 33 will make the field. It's just a matter of if you are able to qualify in on time, and then you race into the LCQ. But we'd love to have as many people out as possible. We've got, I think, already a full field signed up. We've raised close to $700, and we haven't even started the race yet, which is phenomenal. Last year we raised $2,500, and a lot of that, I think going into the event, we were at like 1,000, so we're about on pace with last year, which is great. So if you want to race, it is MaconiSetupShop.com/Movember. The donation goes right to Movember. We never touch the money or anything like that. So you're helping a great cause. Movember are amazing people. We've got some stuff going on with Humble Bundle as well. So that's another way that people can get some cool stuff. They have stuff going on with Humble Bundle. So lots of cool stuff going on. Definitely a lot of good giveaways going on. There's going to be merch and a swag bag from Movember and a trophy and cash and all sorts of cool stuff. So be sure to sign up for that and race in it. If you're not running in it, be sure to watch. It is my favorite event of the year, hands down. I was lucky enough to win it 2 years ago, and I am really hoping that I can win it again. I would love to win it for a second time.
Of course, it was a great opportunity, and everyone at home mentioned, they can go sign up today and put on a great race. That will, of course, be broadcasted here over on Maconi Entertainment. Myself, Justin Prince, and Dylan Door Handle Coyle will be in the call for that one. So, Jeff, thank you for taking time to speak with us, and I'm sure we'll see you next week for the championship finale of 2024.
Absolutely. If I have one good week, I could snag a top 5 in the championship points, which has always been my goal. Well, really, my goal is top 25, but to be in contention for a top 5 is pretty damn cool, I have to say. So hopefully Charlotte goes well, but thank you guys for an awesome show, and I will see you guys on Saturday night.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Once again, that's Jeff Maconi talking things about Movember coming up on the weekend. But remember, coming up on this schedule, it's the Week 13 finale, an extra week for this year's schedule. It is going to be Charlotte to close things out, Braden, and that should be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm looking back real quick tonight. We talked about this track. Atlanta had the thinnest of margins from the racing to the finish, and that was more than apparent tonight with that finish in Charlotte. What a great track to finish this whole season. It's a fan favorite. It's a high-speed track. These trucks, they can run the bottom, they can run the middle, they can run the top. I'm sure these points battles are going to be down to the wire.
It'll be a fun time. Again, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time to see the start of the broadcast. Catch that here on Maconi Entertainment and iRacing social media platforms. On that note, it's time to get ready to say goodbye for this one. Thanks once again to the race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as to you, the viewers, for tuning in. Going the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Bryson Laster. DJ Lyon was producing. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's action. Hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for the work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.